Welcome to Whispers and Confessions. There might be a twist waiting, so please make sure to watch until the end. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Let's begin right away.
Helen's marriage was a beautifully wrapped package, perfect on the outside, but filled with old hurts and a chilling silence within. 56 years, children grown and gone, her bond with Joseph had dwindled to a familiar, yet lifeless, routine. Then, a discreet suggestion from a friend pricked the quiet despair of her withered heart: a swingers' party. Helen scoffed at the preposterous idea, yet a lukewarm, desperate thirst stirred within her. Perhaps this was her last, audacious leap into the unknown. Driving to the party, Helen's heart hammered with both apprehension and a strange excitement. Stepping into the vibrant space, bathed in the glow of a grand chandelier, she was enveloped by unfamiliar perfumes. A low hum of whispers, the clinking of glasses, and a distant murmur of music seemed to echo her own racing pulse. She felt curious glances and appraising stares, a sensation she hadn't experienced since her youth. A forgotten confidence bloomed, subtly straightening her posture as she reawakened to her feminine allure. Watching other couples openly connect and mingle, Helen reflected on her own relationship with Joseph. "I've come this far, but is this truly okay? Joseph is somewhere, doing the same." Inner torment shook her, yet a mysterious sense of liberation pulled her forward. Just then, a man named Mark approached. He seemed utterly captivated by Helen's beauty, his voice gentle and inviting. Mark's warm smile and elegant demeanor slowly melted Helen's reservations. She felt a mix of relief and nervous anticipation as he engaged her. The two shared an intense night. As his hand found her waist, Helen's body trembled with an exhilarating sensation she hadn't felt in decades. The moment his soft lips met hers, a forgotten passion surged through her veins, hot and intoxicating. Their breaths intertwined, and the night grew hotter, deeper. Cradled in Mark's arms, Helen felt as blissful as a young woman in love, yet a persistent guilt lingered. As the night drew to a close, Helen reluctantly said goodbye to Mark, profoundly grateful to the man who had made her feel special again, while complex emotions about Joseph swirled within her. "When this moment ends, I'll return to my routine, but will I truly be okay?" This anxiety merged with a newfound desire for an emotional connection, something beyond the physical that she now craved from Joseph. The drive home was a peculiar mix of emptiness, punctuated by the hope and fear that Joseph might be waiting. The party had awakened not only her jealousy for Joseph, but also the hidden desires within herself. Even in the afterglow of her night with Mark, a growing urge to see Joseph, to talk to him, began to surface. Helen was overwhelmed by complex feelings for him, as potent as the powerful attraction she'd felt for Mark. Do I truly love Joseph? Or is it just habit? Countless questions spun in her mind. But when she arrived home, Joseph was nowhere to be found. Helen felt her composure crack, a wave of anxiety washing over her. Where could he be? Could he possibly be with someone else, just like me? Anxious fantasies spiraled. And as if to confirm her fears, Joseph didn't come home that night. He was spending a passionate night with Yvonne, whom he'd met at the swingers' party. At the party, Joseph nursed a cocktail, scanning the room's electric atmosphere. Like Helen, he felt a flicker of doubt about being there, but an inherent curiosity for new experiences propelled him forward. That's when Yvonne, strikingly elegant, caught his eye. She wore a red dress that hugged her figure, its deep neckline daringly showcasing her ample cleavage. Her gaze, like a hungry wolf's, fixed on Joseph, and the subtle smile playing on her lips was enough to shake his composure. "So, Mr. Joseph, Are things going well with your wife? Yvonne's voice was soft, alluring. Joseph was momentarily flustered, avoiding her eyes. What do I say? Be honest? I can't. His mind raced, but he couldn't escape her gaze. Yvonne's hand casually brushed his arm, a seemingly innocent touch that sent a shiver down his spine. If things were going well, you wouldn't be here, would you? And what about your nights? Yvonne's provocative question nearly made Joseph spill his wine. His face flushed, but he couldn't tear his gaze from Yvonne's enchanting eyes. Oh, it's crucial, isn't it? My husband and we just lost that spark. The freshness faded. So now we're separated. We meet once a week. Yvonne spoke openly about her situation, her voice a low, throaty purr. Joseph was surprised by her frankness, yet found himself strangely drawn to it. I've never met anyone so direct. I see. Marriage comes in many forms. Joseph was overwhelmed by Yvonne's candor. But it became a good opportunity. Meeting only once a week actually rekindled our intimate nights. Yvonne offered a meaningful smile, enticing Joseph. Her gaze seemed to whisper, "You, too, could experience something new with me." I see. It's not like that for us at all. Joseph tried to maintain his composure despite his embarrassment. I have to think of Helen. I shouldn't be here. He thought of Helen, her laughter during their youth, the scent of her hair after a shower, simple, forgotten pleasures that now seemed miles away. Then Yvonne took Joseph's hand, her fingers gently stroking the back of his. That subtle touch made his heart pound even harder. So, it's been a long time then. As Yvonne leaned closer, her sensual curves became even more prominent through her dress. Her sweet, musky scent tantalized Joseph's senses, a dizzying cloud around him. He couldn't hide his agitation. Yvonne's smooth skin was tantalizingly visible through the gap in her shirt. She placed both hands on Joseph's leg, slowly stroking it. Each time her touch moved further up his inner thigh, Joseph felt an electrifying shiver course through his entire body. I shouldn't be doing this. His mind resisted, but his body was already powerfully drawn to her. My place is nearby, Mr. Joseph. Would you like to come over? At that moment, Joseph felt as though he was reaching for forbidden fruit, doing something profoundly wrong. He felt both guilt and an irresistible pull. No, I'll have to decline. I just came out of curiosity tonight to see what these parties are like. I'll head home after. Joseph quickly refused, a slight tremor in his voice. He imagined the quiet resentment on Helen's face if she ever found out. Yvonne showed no disappointment as she stood up. All right then. Let's just drink up. There's plenty of delicious food too. Might as well eat while you're here. Saying that, she took Joseph's hand and led him to get food and drinks. They discovered a shared passion for golf, and their conversation flowed effortlessly, blossoming with laughter. Joseph felt as though he was dreaming, with the beautiful, model-like Yvonne laughing and talking so freely with him. Her perfect physique and captivating smile utterly captivated him. He found himself increasingly drawn into Yvonne's deadly charm. After finishing their meal, they returned to their seats, clinked glasses, and enjoyed their wine. Joseph, entranced by the dreamlike evening, found the alcohol flowing easily, and gradually, the desire not to go home, to stay longer with Yvonne, grew stronger. However, the guilt of betraying his wife, Helen, clung to him. His reason clung to its last thread, a fragile tether. But then, Joseph's eyes caught sight of Helen, looking disheartened, her face a stranger's, walking out of the room arm in arm with Mark, their bodies pressed close as they gathered their belongings. At that moment, an alarm blared in Joseph's mind. Helen's enjoying herself too. So why can't I? She's not thinking of me, so why should I feel guilty? His hesitation vanished instantly, replaced by a surge of anger and betrayal. Immediately after, a text message arrived on Joseph's phone. "I think I'll be late tonight. Don't worry about me. Have a good time." Joseph, who had naturally expected them to go home together, felt a sudden release, as if a dam had burst inside him. All his hesitation disappeared. He immediately gripped Yvonne's hands tightly. "Yvonne, can I come to your place tonight? I want to be with you. I want you right now." Joseph's voice was filled with longing and a suppressed sense of liberation. Yvonne smiled gently and said, "Of course. I'd like that too. Let's go." Her eyes were already burning with desire, as if granting Joseph everything he craved. And so, after enjoying their meal, the two headed to Yvonne's place. Yvonne's room was subtly filled with a luxurious, inviting aroma, and as Joseph entered the bedroom, he felt a strange, potent tension. The king-size bed was neatly made with pristine white sheets, and the soft lighting created a sultry, erotic ambience. "Mr. Joseph, please sit here. I'll get you some tea." Yvonne poured soothing chamomile tea into a beautiful mug. "Mr. Joseph, I'm going to take a shower. Make yourself comfortable." Saying that, Yvonne slowly began to slip out of her red dress right in front of Joseph's eyes. As the dress fell to the floor, her perfect, alluring curves were fully revealed. Joseph swallowed hard, his gaze fixed on Yvonne's seamless, captivating physique. Her underwear was black lace, drawing Joseph's attention. "W8, Yvonne, here." Joseph was flustered, but his eyes couldn't leave her. "Oh, I'm sorry. I live alone, so I don't pay attention. It's just a habit." Yvonne headed to the bathroom with a seductive, knowing smile. Joseph tried to calm his exploding desire by drinking chamomile tea, but his heart pounded fiercely in his chest. A moment later, Yvonne emerged. She wore a pristine white shower gown, but through its opening, her smooth legs and shapely bust line were daringly revealed. The faint scent of soap emanating from her body after her shower further inflamed Joseph's senses. "You should take one too, Mr. Joseph. There are towels and my husband's unworn underwear if you'd like to use them." Yvonne's voice was a soft, tempting invitation. "Oh, thank you. I'll be right back then." Joseph imagined what awaited him as he showered. His heart pounded violently, and his body already ached for her. However, after showering, though the prepared underwear was new, the thought of it belonging to another man left him with conflicting emotions. What kind of man is Yvonne's husband, I wonder? Is he spending a night like this, just like me? He felt an inexplicable anxiety mixed with a strange, dark excitement. When he returned to the room, Yvonne stood by the bed, looking utterly radiant, as if she had just been born. She was completely unclothed, her perfect, naked body fully exposed. Joseph's eyes devoured her lush, perfectly sculpted form, her full breasts, a waist that tapered exquisitely, and legs that seemed to stretch endlessly. His reason felt utterly suspended. "Mr. Joseph, come here," Yvonne beckoned, her voice a low, throaty invitation. Joseph approached, his heart hammering against his ribs, a wild drum. He'd anticipated this, but the sheer, brazen honesty of her nudity startled him, overriding any lingering thoughts of a decorous drink. Yvonne, sensing his hesitation, paid it no mind. She sat on the bed, pulling him down, pressing her body against his. As her velvet skin brushed his thigh, an electric current shot through him. "I've been waiting," she whispered, her breath warm against his ear. "What were you thinking about in the shower?" Joseph's face burned. His gaze dropped to her cleavage. Yvonne chuckled, a throaty, knowing sound. "You're really quite boyish, Mr. Joseph. But I find that endearing." With those words, their lips met. Her soft, moist mouth claimed his, sending an intoxicating wave through his entire being. Their kiss deepened, growing more primal, and Joseph's hands wrapped fiercely around her waist, pulling her impossibly close. His breath hitched, a guttural sound escaping him as he unleashed the raw, surging emotions he'd suppressed for so long, devouring her with a hunger that knew no bounds. He reveled in the feel of her yielding flesh, exploring every curve. Yvonne's fervent moans filled the bedroom, driving Joseph madly towards pleasure's ultimate crest. All his senses converged, exploding in a blinding flash. A scorching wave swept through him, and as his consciousness briefly dimmed, his body finally relaxed, utterly consumed by the climax. He reached his peak, again and again, until, utterly spent, he collapsed into a deep, dreamless sleep beside her. Meanwhile, Helen was consumed by loneliness and agitation. The house felt too large, too quiet. Where could Joseph have gone? Was he with another man, just like her? His absence amplified her anxiety, a cold knot in her stomach. Perhaps Joseph is experiencing the exact same thing as me? Complex emotions dominated her sleepless night. The next morning, the doorbell chimed, a sharp sound in the quiet house. Helen, who had barely slept, moved tiredly towards the front door. When she opened it, Joseph stood there. His face showed clear signs of fatigue, but as soon as he saw Helen, a wave of relief washed over him, softening the lines of worry on his brow. "Helen, what's wrong? Are you feeling ill?" Joseph asked, his voice thick with genuine concern, seeing her drawn expression. "No. I couldn't sleep because I was so anxious about you not coming home." Helen's voice clearly conveyed the raw anxiety of the previous night. Until now, Joseph had been late due to work dinners or long business trips, but Helen had never worried like this. Joseph was surprised. Instantly, guilt overwhelmed him. To think I made Helen feel this way. Joseph deeply regretted his selfishness. "Helen, I'm so sorry. I hurt you." Joseph apologized sincerely, stepping forward to embrace her. Helen felt the truth in his words and leaned into his embrace. "It's okay. I also had my own experience last night," she confessed softly, "but this feeling, it's like when we were newlyweds." Helen pulled back slightly, a subtle smile playing on her lips, a new light in her eyes that Joseph hadn't seen in years. Her words resonated deeply within Joseph. "Newlyweds. It's truly been too long since I felt this way." Joseph stroked Helen's hair, making a firm resolution. He saw not resentment in Helen's eyes, but a faint, yearning longing, of vulnerability born from her own night. "How much pain have I caused you?" Guilt weighed heavily on his chest, but simultaneously, a hope for a new beginning in her embrace began to rise. "I'm sorry, Helen." "Truly, I am," he murmured, his voice heartfelt. Helen buried her face in his shoulder, whispering softly, "Me too. Last night, I found a part of myself I'd forgotten. I think I finally understand why we grew so distant. I realized I missed feeling wanted, truly wanted, by you. Not just comfort, but passion." Joseph held her tighter. "I took you for granted, Helen. I stopped seeing the woman you are, the woman I fell in love with. I won't do that again. My place is here, Helen. And yours is with me, isn't it? From now on, let's cherish our time as a couple. Let's make our relationship new again." Helen's eyes welled up with tears at his words, and she looked up at Joseph's face. Her gaze was filled with love and anticipation. For the first time in decades, perhaps, they shyly pressed their lips together. Their first touch after that night was hesitant, a mix of apprehension and rekindled desire. It wasn't the easy intimacy of their youth, but something new, born from shared experience and raw honesty. And in that vulnerability, they found a deeper connection. Their kiss was more than just a simple touch. It was a profound, passionate promise of forgiveness, understanding, and a renewed commitment to walk together. Their relationship, from this night forward, was ready to embark on an entirely new chapter, filled with a fragile but potent hope. The next morning, the sun streamed into their kitchen, painting the familiar space in a new light. As Helen prepared coffee, the aroma seemed sharper, more invigorating. Joseph watched her from the table, a stillness in his movements he hadn't noticed before. He reached for her hand as she passed, and for a fleeting moment, she hesitated, a whisper of a forgotten touch in her mind, before her fingers intertwined with his. At breakfast, a comfortable silence settled between them, yet it was different. It held an unspoken understanding, a quiet acknowledgement of the night that had changed everything. Later that week, they tried a date night again. At a fancy restaurant, the initial silence was awkward, not peaceful. "Do you remember that small Italian place, just after we got married?" Helen ventured, breaking the quiet. Joseph nodded, a wistful smile touching his lips. "The one where we almost got kicked out for laughing too loud." They chuckled, but a shadow passed over Helen's face. "We used to have so much to talk about then," she murmured. Joseph squeezed her hand. "We still do, Helen. We just forgot how to listen." That night, in their bedroom, their bodies moved with a hesitant grace. Helen sometimes caught herself, a flash of Mark's hands, Mark's scent, but she focused on Joseph, on the familiar contours of his body, rediscovering the warmth she had yearned for. Joseph, too, found himself navigating a new landscape, the ghost of Yvonne's raw passion hovering, but he consciously embraced Helen's soft intimacy, the profound comfort of her touch. Each shared breath, each touch, was a deliberate step towards a deeper understanding. A few weeks later, at a neighborhood picnic, they unexpectedly saw the couple who had hosted the party. "Helen, Joseph. So glad you could make it," the hostess, a woman with knowing eyes, greeted them. "Did you enjoy your evening?" she asked Helen, a mischievous glint in her eye. Helen smiled, a genuine, private smile. "It was enlightening." The hostess looked at Joseph. "Joseph, Helen looks so much brighter these days." Joseph met her gaze, a new confidence in his own. "She is. We both are." Later, on the golf course, Joseph caught a glimpse of a woman with a swing uncannily similar to Yvonne's. For a split second, his heart seized, but then it steadied. He shook his head, focusing on his own shot. Helen, meanwhile, found herself humming a tune on the radio, a song Mark had mentioned he loved. A pang, not of longing, but of distant memory, touched her. They continued to navigate their days, these echoes of the night, sometimes a whisper, sometimes a gentle nudge. But each time, they turned towards each other, their hands finding a familiar clasp, their eyes meeting with a renewed sense of purpose. The path wasn't perfectly smooth, but they were walking it together now.